And welcome to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. And if I look like I've been working today, I have been. I mean, a lot of times I just sit at the shop and wait on customers, but I've been boxing and unboxing Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And so I feel like I've put in a manual labor today, which I'm not used to doing. But I'm thrilled to death today to have Dr. Linda Cash, who is the director of our Bradley County Schools, with us today. And most of you know schools have started. If you're unaware, you've not been in a car during the driving in of buses and picking up of buses. So welcome, Linda. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
And we always want to promote our schools, especially our Bradley County schools, and I try not to be partial, and y'all know that. But we're looking forward to a great year. So how have we started out so far?
Well, so far we've done great. I have visited all of our schools with the exception of virtual at this point, and I can tell you that there's a positive energy in the schools. The classrooms are busy already, active student engagement. I had one little boy invite me to come home with him to play, and I told him he'd have to check with his mom. But it's been great. I mean, I can't say enough about our parents, our teachers, our administrators. They're all just, there's a good positive energy. And honestly, Nancy, this year we're really purposely focusing on building relationships with our students because we feel like once those relationships are formed, then they build trust, and then they won't be so afraid to ask questions and to do different things. And maybe we'll find out little something about them that we need to know to make it a little better for them. So.
Absolutely. I was at Prospect the other day for their new student luncheon, and I think that's a neat thing to do because that makes the new students feel. And it's real funny. As a former teacher, I'm sitting there, standing around, watching the children, and in my mind, I'm trying not to do this, but you know how you do it. You look at the kids and say, oh, I wish I was teaching. I'd like to have that child. Or, oh, my goodness, those two better not be in the same room. So I know this happens a lot to us, but I think it's exciting that we've started the school year.
Yes.
And how's our attendance so far?
Actually, our attendance is even higher. We started focusing 2 years ago on the importance and value of attendance. And actually, I was at Waterville Elementary today, and I was taking pictures of where the teachers had hanging outside of their door 100% attendance. Wow. So kids are on task in school, and I don't know if that's because the parents are saying summer's over, go, 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 or if we're just really intent, and our teachers have been present. We had a meeting with my administrators last week, and we celebrated because there's been no absences of my administrators. So
wow.
How about that? So we're all really rocking and rolling. I will tell you that we have gained quite a few students.
Okay.
I was at Ocoee Middle this morning, and there are well over 1,100 students enrolled. Wow. Speaking to Lake Forest, they may be hitting closer to 12 now, so that's 1,200. So we're bustling at the seams, and we love it. I want everybody to know, if you're interested in Bradley County Schools, just give us a call. We can get the principals to take you for a tour. They are great. We have so many great things going on. It's a lot of fun, too.
And we have 4 new principals. Some of them have been principals before. We've just shuffled them around a little bit, and some have not. So how's that going?
Well, I was, again, at Ocoee this morning, and I think there's a little bit of difference between Valley View and Ocoee Middle and the number of students and the number of activities. I think Mr. Lindbergh told me this morning that pretty much every day there's 3 or 4 after-school events, and so they're dividing up so that they can cover everything. But that's middle school and high school.
That's right.
But having a great time. Saw Heather this morning and at Waterville. She is fabulous. She was busy already in those classrooms doing observations, and it was just fun. And actually at Waterville, this is my first time I've seen it. Grit is where we're focusing. Let's prepare our kids for grit so that they can make it through things and work through things and be intentional in what they're doing. And they have a big bulletin board that talks about grit and sticking with it, and had a picture of all the people from Albert Einstein to Michael Jordan who had grit, who they may have failed at first, but they kept pushing on. So we're really trying to push to teach our students grit this year. So.
And that's so awesome, because I know when I taught, I wanted my children, I wanted to teach them responsibility, and then the results of what they, if you're responsible for something, then you have to also assume the responsibility of the outcome of what you were responsible for.
Right.
And sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we just brush off and say that's not important, but it is. Grit is important.
It is because, we all run into walls that we have to push through that might not be easy, but you keep plugging and plugging and plugging. And one of their mottos this year is, I don't know it yet.
Okay, I love
So,
that.
yeah, that's that, trying to have that growth mindset. And so it was up in a couple of classrooms. I don't know it yet.
I think that's awesome.
So they're really, it's a good feeling. It's a lot of fun to be in the classrooms.
And then we have a new principal
At Taylor.
at Taylor, and I know she wanted to be a principal, and I think that's great. So was that a shock to her? Or
A little bit of a shock, but what she said was, this is the best job I've ever had, and I love
wow.
every minute of it.
Fantastic.
And I will plug for her husband, who came out and did landscaping, and I told him I'd give him a plug. So he was out there landscaping at Taylor. So
Joe came out and
Joe was
did landscaping. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
proud of him. Joe's one of my former, not really a student. He was in my beta club when I had the beta club at Calhoun. So great guy, and they have a great son, Hunter. And then we have another new principal
at Valley View.
at Valley View.
We have Mr. Jones at Valley View, and he said his first realization was that there's not as many suspensions at the elementary school as there are at the high school. He said at first he thought it was a mistake. He said
Because he came from Walker Valley.
He came from Walker Valley,
Okay.
from high school, but he is, again, loving it. He actually had a family work day, a community work day, and he said it was
neat.
well attended, and they got the school ready to start. And that's what I really like about our schools. It's very community-oriented.
Yes.
The community supports those schools. Our churches support those schools. Our businesses support our schools. I can't say enough about how everybody wraps their arms around Bradley County schools, and it is from our pre-K kids all the way to our high schoolers. Want to really just commend this community for being so supportive of education.
And one of the programs that I just love is the BEST program, Business and Education
Yes.
Serving Together, that the Chamber does, because that puts a business with different schools.
Yes.
And I think all of our schools in the county have at least one BEST partner,
Yes.
and some of them have 2 and 3. And so those are partners that can come in and help with landscaping and things
Yep.
like that.
Yeah. Also, the United Way, in their day of action, they send groups out to the schools if the principals request it, and that is, again, the community helping the schools in education. So it's I can't say enough about what everybody does. It's really fun.
And that's what I think, if you buy in,
Yep.
then you're going to have better results. It's kind of like the Habitat motto of, you have to give us some sweat equity before you get the house, and I think you need sweat equity in the community schools. And to me, there's nothing better than community schools.
I love it. I do want to, if it's okay with you, give a shout out to my Unplugged student group.
Yes, let's do that.
Our Unplugged student group is 7 students from Walker Valley, 7 students from Bradley, who for our 3rd year in a row have come together to form a group where they're reaching out to students at the elementary, middle, and high school to talk about unplugging for whatever your drug is, whether it's actually a physical drug or if you are addicted to anything, unplugging from it and being very positive. I just looked at the commercial that they're going to have at the Walker Valley Bradley game on Friday, and it's just really well done. It is really about student leadership and taking care of your peers. So I'm so proud of that group. It's phenomenal. Miss Cannon, Brittany Cannon, leads that for us, and I have to say Wright Brothers is a full-on support of it, and just real pleased with what those kids are doing. So
And I think the Wright Brothers are also affiliated with The Bridge,
Yes.
ATS The Bridge, and that's another group that is stressing the opioid situation
Yes.
we have, and bullying and self-concept and all of those things that especially middle school and high schoolers seem to have those problems.
And knowing that you are a school board member, I would like to actually say that our school board, along I believe with the city school board as well, endorsed the Bridge group going into our elementary, middle, and high, talking to kids about the dangers of drugs. But in our elementary school, more about making good choices.
Right.
And so it's again comes back to the community helping everybody.
And this is our future.
Yes, it is.
And so we need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to help our students and work with our students and do the best we can for them.
They're fun.
They are
They're
fun.
a lot of fun.
They are fun. I had a really good time over at Prospect the other day, and appreciate Steve Montgomery always including me in everything they do over there, which I think is great. But now we have. I can do this. We have 2 high schools and 2 middle schools, and then we have how many elementary
You
schools?
have 11 elementary schools.
11 elementary.
Then you have Goal Academy
Yes.
and our virtual school, which I want to give a shout out to our virtual school because those kids are online learners, but it's a different environment. But they kind of form their own friendships and groups. They have lunches together. They do field trips together, and Dr. Schroyer is just being 100% sure that they feel like they are part of the group. So, if you need an alternative, we have kids in there with illnesses where they can't attend. We have some that may be competitive dancers where they're traveling all the time that can do online. So I'd like to give them a plug because it's really a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, they just had their first lunch bunch at Chick-fil-A last week.
Oh,
so
how
they
neat.
they met there to have lunch and just socialize. So that's also part of Bradley County Schools.
So they can meet each other because they're not in a regular
Yes,
classroom
yeah.
setting. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
I was at Walker Valley on the first day of school greeting everybody, and there was a student that had been at the virtual school and wants to try to
Yeah.
see about being there at Walker Valley. And I was so proud of her. I thought, well, that's great.
Yeah.
But she said she loved virtual school, but just wanted to try.
A little more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just step out. And I thought, well, I'm proud of you for wanting to step out because that is an obligation that a lot
Yeah.
of kids don't want to do. They're perfectly happy over there in their little.
Yeah. Now it is hard. Virtual school is really hard because it's a high level academics, but it takes a lot of self discipline. Coming back to that grit, you really have to push your way through that because it is really on your timing and pushing yourself. Although we have tutors, they can come in to be tutored. They can come in for extra help. All those things are available, but just wanted to give them a shout.
And I think that's great. And of course, Goal Academy, we're very proud of Goal Academy
Yes.
and what happens over there. And do you want to talk about the Pie Center at all?
I do.
Okay,
I
let's
do.
talk
Yeah.
about the Pie Center.
Well, the Pie Center, of course, is our partnerships with industry and education, and we are moving forward with that. If you go by there now, you'll see a road being cut in behind. The road is being cut behind because we have to get some of our diesel trucks because we're planning on a diesel mechanics program back there in cooperation with some of our businesses and industry. So we're all full on. We're hammering out the architectural phase of it right now. So we have anchor partners that are ready to go. So it is very, very exciting. So,
And I think this is awesome because I'm one of those people, and I think a lot of people out there are. When I was growing up, my mother said you will get a college degree because she had a college degree and my grandmother had a college degree. And so I told my son, you will get a college degree. But not everybody needs a college degree, and we're at that stage in society that we were losing our plumbers,
Yes.
our electricians, our contractors, our brick masons, our diesel mechanics, and all of that. And so these are great programs.
and also in the Pie Center, they can do a couple of things. They can do dual enrollment, which means they're earning those college credits. They can do dual certifications, and still, if they want to go on to post-secondary, they can do that, and they'll have earned credits. But the biggest thing, if they're ready to work, they've got the training, the certificates, everything. They'll be ready to go, and it's a win-win for everybody.
It really
is. And you're right. We need people that can do those jobs, and they make such a great living.
Yes, they do.
It's a good salary. It's not your $8, $9 an hour. These are highly trained, skilled professions.
I know Doug Berry told me one time at the chamber last year, he said, if I had 40 welders right now,
Put them to work.
I could put them to work. And I think we have a CTE program at Bradley with welding.
We do.
It's not the advanced welding, but they could leave Bradley and actually go to work. So I think that's great that the CTE, and Alex is telling me that we're going to have to take a commercial break, but we're going to come right back because I want us to talk a little bit more about CTE, and I also want to talk about some test scores and how we're doing and how our kids are learning.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away, folks. I'll be right back. We're going to take a commercial break, and you know what I say. Watch our commercials, support our sponsors because they pay our bills. And we'll be right back with Dr. Linda Cash to talk about some more of our Bradley County schools.